Conscious collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, y'all? It's Emily, and we are live.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and we are the Conscious Collaboration. And today we are a trifecta. Here with us is Angel Evans. And yes, we are live streaming inside of our closed and private Facebook group. Welcome, Angel. Angel is the founder of Biometech. 30 years partnering and collaborating with scientists, the best from around the world, to create what is known as microbiotic intelligence. Angel, thank you so much for being here. We love to have you, and tell us a little bit more about those 3 points I touched on.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much. And this is the beginning of me sort of coming out privately with different groups. So I'm extremely honored to be with Lisa and Emily today, and all of you.
We're honored to catch you at the beginning. Yeah.
No, well, energetically, things have to be right. And what I didn't even know the name of your podcast was Conscious Collaboration, because collaboration is really the only way anything's going to work in our world anymore. So I just want to ride on the tail of that. And one of the things that Lisa and I have a passion for, that I know for sure, is feng shui. And before this, I was meditating and speaking to one of my colleagues, and really, I want everyone to know that you actually have an internal feng shui, and that is the microbiome. And it's an internal feng shui that actually humanity has never actually felt truly before. And I do not say this with we're a no shame, no guilt pathway. We're about education and understanding. And we have an intelligence. People don't quite understand the DNA and what's inside of us. And spiritually, everyone talks about how the universe comes from within us. Well, in order to access whether it's internal wisdom or external connection, like this amazing thing that we have through, internet, we actually need a Wi-Fi system. And the microbiome would be considered the biological internet, or in our little community, the internal feng shui. And the reason most people have not experienced it is that there are so many interferences within this. So I just want to kind of set the context. And shall I keep going?
Yes, you're speaking our language. So
okay. So I want to make this delicious and delightful and inspirational for why we get to be hot, sexy, beautiful, smart, intelligent, and up our IQ while we have this artificial intelligence thing that everybody's so afraid of. Well, nobody's talking about the internal intelligence. How do we up our game so we're at the very pinnacle? Well, we have I tried to narrow it down to about 4 different interference pieces so we can understand better why we might be experiencing what we're experiencing. So number 1, we have something that we call transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. What is that? People think they inherit houses and bank accounts. No, you inherit broken down suitcase microbiotic intelligence. Because if mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great was traumatized, was alcoholic, was a workaholic, because that's the same chemistry as an alcoholic. People don't know that. And what happens is many of those genes, which are the blueprint that the RNA reads to tell you what chemicals to make for wellness, I call them a barnacle, just because it's easier to imagine, than a methyl group. So when all of those genes that you've inherited for you to make your own goods are blocked, you can't have that. And that sort of explains our young people in the world, and how the spectrum world is 1 in 2 births at this point. And so that's the simple thing I try to help people understand, is that if we had this computer that we're talking on right now, if it was filled with spyware, malware, viruses, you wouldn't take it to Apple and download that into the new computer, would you?
Right.
Boom, inheritance. Okay, that's category one. And what I really want to invite people to do is actually get a piece of paper, and I want them to make 4 circles. This is going to be like the paqua of your body, and we can go we can be more in depth as we choose. But I want to get the picture. Emily.
Can I back it up with a clarifying question, I guess?
Please.
Is there in terms of like sort of defining the microbiome in the way that you're talking about it, does it go beyond sort of what I'm thinking as the natural environment of bacteria and other organisms that make up your body? Does it go beyond that in the context that you're
like in the culture? And I pretty much know all the leading edge of everybody out there, pretty much. And what they're doing is they started by talking about the gut, the gut microbiome. Okay. That's you have a microbiome on your eyelid, in your eyeball, up your nostril,
all
in your breasts, in your vagina, in the phallus. You have it everywhere. So think of it, this is how we've helped people understand. We have so much more bacteria than human cells. When I discussed this 30 years ago, we would say you have 10 times. That's not even, I don't even want to guess how much we've destroyed we'll go into the other categories. So we'll get into like what 3 things. So when I say microbiome, truly consider it as your Wi-Fi, and the average human being is 3 to 5% online.
Wow.
3 to 5% online. So how do we have a chance of collaborating, communicating, loving, recognition of who we are and the source that lives within us when we're not online? And I am not saying people aren't competent, successful, capable, all kinds of things. It's kind of like, I think you have a kind of spiritual community. Think of the God's mansions that are so exquisite, and you've been to one room.
Right.
And there's vast worlds available of sexy, juicy fun, raise your IQ, all kinds of things. More importantly, stop aging. Y'all, we have a lot to do yet. Most of us are just getting started in the real ministry, mission, passion of what we're here to do this lifetime. It doesn't matter your age. Like that's what's waking up. So does that answer the question? Was that too much?
I think so. So then like it's literally like our organic means of connection to God, source, spirit, and nature.
Ourselves, each
basically.
other, and source.
Our environments.
The 3, us, each other, source. It is that thing. You all know enough about the power of nature that when you walk out in nature, man, it starts marshaling your electrons towards it. So all the negative starts to leave. Well, when people work with me, I tell them you don't get to go in nature for the next 6 or 8 hours when they do powerful stuff, because nature will marshal your electrons and the brain ecstasy won't stay in your body. It took me a lot of years to figure that out, because nature's that powerful.
What does grounding, so when we're talking about earthing a lot on our podcast, what kind of component does that have with what you're talking about?
Well, in the sense of the fact that Mother Earth is in an ascension, she will communicate. Like, it's really powerful to get out into the morning dew, where all the moon information is in the water, and it goes right into the soles of your feet. So that's an amazing practice. But the thing I want to go back to is, like, if the Wi-Fi is not on, how much of that information are you absorbing? How much of that information are you decoding within yourself? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So step 1, we want to think about inherited. TEI, not a TIA stroke. Transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. And I don't think this is language that the world uses very much. Hopefully we'll make it more fluid.
This is mind-blowing to me, so I'm taking notes, but...
Okay, all right. Second thing we're going to talk about is life stresses. you can literally destroy your microbiome through an overworking, overdoing lifestyle as much as being an alcoholic. No one
Which is
understands
what everybody's doing.
what everybody's
Everybody's
We're
doing
addicted
it.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And
Hustle
what
culture.
happens, my CEOs and leaders that I built this on, because I've been influencing the culture for a very long time, but we just don't talk about what we do. They end up with an extra 2 to 6 hours a day because you're not dragging this beautiful reality suit, but I call it your pet, around with your mind, surfing the biochemical roller coaster, which we'll get into that one next. So circle 1 is going to be inherited.
Mhm.
Circle 2 is life stress.
Okay.
Circle 3, chemicals. And I am not here to turn anybody off because I understand 1,000,000% the biochemical addiction to everything. It took an psychedelic pharmacological stunt woman to figure this out. So I understand people's attraction to this psychedelic renaissance. It's, the brains are so shut off. People are using jackhammers to try to feel something. In my generation, people did drugs to get high. In the younger generation, they're doing everything from pharmaceuticals to daily drugs to recreationals to try to feel normal.
Oh,
To
yeah,
try to
that's
feel
so
normal.
sad. Yeah,
Well,
when you said that, I was thinking about how what I hear in feng shui is so many people feel nothing. Just a complete disconnectedness, that offline.
that's right.
Sorry, go ahead. It just
Oh,
that's
no. Share. Listen, this is ping pong because we want every mother to understand that we can help your child fully develop their brain for the first 24 years. And we'll talk about chemicals next.
okay.
So the thing about chemicals, and look, if somebody's suicidal and the only way they saved their life was an SSRI, fabulous. Like, we don't want you to die. It's just, I have figured out over these 3 decades with sort of Noah's Ark of humanity, how to titrate everyone off the chemicals. Because the only thing I think I care to be known for is this one statement. And that would be, it's impossible to free a culture when you're drugged by the chemicals of the culture.
Mhm.
Because you want a nervous system. The energy that's coming in right now requires a whole new nervous system. And so even if somebody has a nervous system that's like this much whacked out,
Yeah.
it means that we're not present, we don't make good decisions, and we have to loop around and remake our decisions. So the entirety of this work is to help make this your ally, your journey of ecstasy, and this teammate that isn't 90% of your day of how to manage it. Caffeine in the morning, lose your energy, chocolate, sugar, marijuana, alcohol to go to sleep, CBD, whatever these things are. If you put in that circle, because I want you to list 2 stressors in each circle that you might be experiencing, all of our listeners. What might you have inherited? Did you have an alcoholic dad? Did your dad never come home? Did you not have a parent? That kind of neglect creates another, we've done enough nature nurture conversations for you to understand that it has an impact on chemistry. So first circle is inherited. The second circle is your life stresses. Do you sleep? 90% of our culture doesn't sleep. And we have this conversation about something that most people don't understand. And I'm not pro aura rings and all these other like electrical influences. It doesn't mean they're not good to measure, but it's not a great idea, which is the 4th circle, which is electronic influence. And there are others, and we can go deeper and we can be super specific about what each particular thing does genetically to us. But today, what we're doing is we're actually inviting everyone into the conversation of, you mean I can look better this year than last year? I'm shameless. I'll use vanity. I don't care.
I'm in fitness. I believe in getting people in via the gateway,
Or would you like to access your multidimensional consciousness? That's what Biometech does. Most people arrive because of we don't call things diseases after the first conversation, ever, because it's a project. Illness is opportunity. And I have pretty much done the A to Z of like, oh, I come to this conversation having had multiple sclerosis for 20 years, and I don't have a trace of it. And that's all I can say in an environment like this, and that's all I will say. And I've handled, everything that has come my way because it's been a path of source guiding us. Because the problem with science today is they lost God. They lost source, and they're absolutely interacting. I mean, just if you look at the physicists, they'll tell you that if you took all the solid molecules of all of humanity, do you girls know how much space it takes up?
Probably not a lot.
Yeah. Sugar cube.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's running us? Like that's where I want people to start going, what's running us? let's I call it radio stations. And when you think about the Wi-Fi, there's like God 101 or radio chaos. And there's not that much in between. There might be radio dead, like existing, surviving.
So the radio chaos that you describe is all that static of all those influences, of
all the interferences.
All the interferences.
Yeah. And then in the center of your 4 circles, I want you to put in there microbiotic intelligence. And that is where we get to all of the Pakwa regions. And we can split those. We can split those 4. That's like how you get your compass online, is that you start to turn on. And so I have one sentence that I hopefully is understandable. It's always been a challenge for us because we're so advanced. My chemist teammate, who I wouldn't do any of this without Dan, he scans 2,500 medical journals a month, and he can scan as fast as he can move.
Wow.
He can read science in any language. And when you think about it, there's not really a medical person that does research obsessively for 60 years of their career. And there's not usually a researcher that develops something that alters the well-being of humanity. And so he's and Dan and I are kind of like words and music. Like he's for sure the mechanic, but I'm the one that can look at anybody. And I want everyone to know everyone has this skill. It will show up in the flavor of their own supernaturalness. But I could tell you how much your serotonin, dopamine, and what you're missing and what's going on. Because frankly, if you do this technology long enough, your flavor of that genius would pop awake. It just absolutely shows up. And I just kind of warn people, your supernatural skills are for source. We've all been around enough spiritual teachers who've done a premature purification where they haven't actually resolved their own sexual proclivities or their arrogance or their spiritual egos. And so one of the things about this path is it is so humbling and so compassionate that as you start to light yourself up, you instantaneously understand, oh my God, virus is running their decisions. Oh my goodness, like they have no serotonin. Like it literally comes from the inside where you just start to feel so much more love for everyone. But the most important thing is for yourself, because you can't get what you haven't had. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Everything that you're describing makes me think of vitality and life force energy and chi.
Yeah.
And all of that galaxy within us. I'm picturing like circuit boards and light switches interacting with one another.
Yeah.
I'm looking
so that's
at
what
the
starts to
comments.
happen. So the one statement about Biometech is that let me give just a tiny bit of DNA information. So if we took the DNA out of one cell, how far would it stretch?
Oh my gosh.
About 6 feet. It takes, I think, 333,333 folds to put that DNA in a cell. So if you just begin to think about the misfolding that may not, because I have a lot of kids who produce serotonin that their brain can't use because their parents were chemically affected for so long, Wow. And so when you start to think about the fact that, of course, the Holy Spirit would put a repair system in us for us to be able to fix our DNA, right? Well, what we've done is we've built a surrogate microbiome that actually is very functional. And we feed it all the bacteria that nobody has. And we give it all the food that nobody eats. And through very specific fermentation, we will remove the solids, filter the liquids through chromatography and electrophoresis, and everything is by magnetic weight. So the actual size of these peptides and proteins, and what are they? They're the repair system for your DNA. So
Oh my gosh.
this is not a supplement system. This is a technology that helps you produce your own neurotransmitter bank account, that helps you graciously forgive yourself for all the toxic insults that you played on this very precious vessel without knowing it. No shame.
So where does I'm just gonna use a really generic phrase, but doing the work, therapy, spiritual practice, whatever, where does that come into play in conjunction with this technology in making these repairs?
Absolutely vital. Let me say this. I consider what we do turning the lights on in the house, you stop running into the furniture. The patterns, you start to realize what you're doing. Then integrative technologies land. Like I enroll every single counselor, therapist of every modality that I can get a hold of. Why? Because most of us are wasting 90% of our time trying to calm down their nervous system. I'm not joking. And if you're a phenomenal body worker or whatever, we just put those people on like 5 calming sprays. It's a category that I named, but they do much more than that. They turn on serotonin, endorphins, GABA, all that kind of stuff. And so that way, the genius of all of the healers that are stepping up, all the skills that are waking up, all the lifetime of practices, now what you've done is you've empowered the person to be present enough to hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Most people can't hear each other.
So your technology comes in the form like we're used to seeing for medication sprays.
We have liquid sprays. I wasn't going to put them on today. Liquid sprays. We have powders. Like, for example, I have a vitamin C that, as far as I know, is the only one made inside of a human microbiome. Because when you take ascorbic acid, your cells will try to rip out 1,000 peptides from other locations to try to integrate that vitamin C. And I'm not disregarding everybody's good work in each of the fields. It's just very different when everything you take from us, your vessel thinks you produced yourself. There's no first pass liver response. There's no urine turning, green. There's none of that. So it's super sexy because you turn you on.
So in order to ultimately, share this with the masses or, more people, who then outside of you is going to be able to, prescribe and guide people through this process?
Well, the good news is it's like shooting fish in a barrel. There isn't hardly anything we make that everyone doesn't need. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, I've trained a lot of practitioners. We have a lot of people, and I train people for their communities. And I have classes already recorded. I have all kinds of stuff that is, and the thing to understand is that I'm not here to be Apple. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
We're turning our company into a private membership organization. Everyone is going to have to sign into the trust so that I can keep all medical information utterly locked down. Because I've already had to deal with so much in our culture because we're not, right now, health is a privilege. It's not a right. Like health is, well-being is not normal, and what we want to do is we want to put a whole bunch of us superpowers in positions of authority where our chemistry doesn't cut us off at the knees.
Mm-hmm.
So if every person were to write two things that might be impacting them in the 4 circles, think about what you inherited. Think about where your daily stresses are. Think about the chemicals that you might be ingesting. And it's really fun to become chemical free without 4 days of migraines. And, willpower runs out. End of story. Everybody's quit everything they're doing to manage their day, usually dozens of times, because people are starting to realize, like, I don't think I feel better when I do 42 chemicals in a week, or I live on restaurant food, or just whatever it is. And then the fourth one would be electronics. So we're not here to demonize anything. We're here to exalt the extraordinary consciousness that is us and help us feel better, look better. And I do classes, and we do a lot of different things. So we have offerings of all kinds so people can start. But the very first step that we go after for everyone is this 4th stage sleep. And that is the sleep of a baby. And have you seen babies when they wake up and they're like, you're like,
yeah,
is that what they look like? No.
Well, and the thing is, it can take 2 to 4 months to get someone into that doorway. If you're on 15 years of Ambien, we're going to have another conversation, and I can still do it, but it takes a little bit more pieces of the puzzle. Because right now, I mean, a huge amount of the medical world is using sleep aids because their schedules are so crazy.
Yeah.
And they got indoctrinated in the 7 or 8 years of, schooling and then internship, and everything's off cycle. So fortunately, I've had tons of those, so I know how to help. And what's thrilling about this is that, everyone has a question. Well, how long do you need to do it? And I'm like, well, how long do you need to drink water? We live in a debilitated culture. People joyfully kind of run to us because of a project. Stay with us because you now understand that as your Wi-Fi gets lit, your intuition, your IQ, your capacity, your well-being just keeps up-leveling, because evolution is endless. It's endless.
It's funny. It's not really funny, but it's interesting, because this is the same conversation we have with fitness, right?
Okay.
It's the same exact conversation. You come in for the whatever. I want to make my tummy smaller. I want to make my butt bigger. Whatever your thing is, your project.
Yeah.
And you stay. How long is this going to take me? How long is this going to take me to do this? Right. Well, I don't know what let's go. And then once you realize, I'm sleeping better, I have more confidence, I don't hide from the mirror when I get out of the shower, I feel stronger, I can lift my suitcase over my head, and whatever the thing is, I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, whatever all this stuff is, you come to that conclusion once you're in it, and you're like, oh, this is better, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that I have taken the most couch potato, non-motivated, impossible to talk to, which, by the way, there's a brain principle that everyone should know. And that is, when part of the brain is not working, that part of life doesn't exist for that person at all. Stop saying that thing 400 times to your relative or husband or whatever. Don't waste. Spray. Families that spray together stay together. And we know, that the nuclear family is the power of a culture. The nuclear family is the power of a culture. How the nuclear family looks these days is changing, but we're not here. The only reason anything that's not of a God light has had any power over us is we've been splitting up. And so if you think about, I always say in the US especially, there's no ship coming for you except the friendship. and if you don't have gut bacteria and Wi-Fi, we don't make friends. This collaboration is about all of us loving.
That's so wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Just to think that your gut bacteria has anything to do with your interpersonal relationships, but
it makes sense. As you're talking,
the thing
I'm thinking about,
I guess.
Oh
anyway,
yeah, like parasites.
I just want to say, though, the penny just dropped for you girls. I just want to acknowledge anyone watching. When the light, look, I had 20 years of agonizing neurological pain. I had so much pain that I had to disassociate, which I've then spent all the time since getting rid of the virus and everything I had, coming back and getting an atrophied vessel online.
Wow.
So there's not a lot of, I had black hole depressions where I got a 4-year-old, my daughter's 33. Like I've been on this rodeo a long time, longer than I might look. And
Wow.
it's the level of self-judgment, of insecurity, of worry that we run as a species. I will absolutely say on my life that 60 to 85% of it is biochemically based. I want to release every person listening from that judgment and that self-flagellation that we do when we didn't work out enough or we didn't know how to feel good about ourselves so we could go socialize. This is chemistry. Will chemistry fix everything? No. Never hear that from me. Never. People always put that on me. No. But if you have no chemistry, which our young people don't, I mean, I'm out here because we're in such a firestorm on young people's brains that we must stick together as sisters. I have a little 9-year-old that they diagnosed her with hypopituitarism at birth.
Wow.
At birth, and they put her on 3 meds. In 10 days, she's off half her meds. And she's on my stuff and regenerating and having no problem titrating. And I am not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-anything, except I'd like pro-education for people understanding what the psychedelic revolution renaissance is doing to the young people's brains. Well, I can spend entire sessions going into the depth of that for communities that want to know. People that don't want to know, how about you just get happier, you start sleeping, you got more energy, whatever your pain point is, let's just get it off the table. And then find the workout, because you have to exercise this thing. You have to. You snooze, you lose. You have to eat well.
Yeah. Well, skeletal muscle is
I know.
part of keeping up with a healthy microbiome.
It absolutely is.
Can't
Ladies,
do so
I want to
without that
interject with some
metabolic tissue.
questions because we do
Okay.
have some questions in our comments and some compliments too. Just everyone saying, wow, what hope for humanity. Question from Michelle is, what does working with a system look like and how often do you meet with a practitioner? And how do you use the technology?
Okay, so here's the ABCs. I do want you to put up there, you're going to email one of my awesome teammates, Chrissy, which is Krissy, at Biometech, Biome, tech, tech.com. And Chrissy, what I like to do is I have a few recordings where Dan and I are explaining the microbiome, we're explaining what the daily drugs do, we're explaining things, because this is something that the more education I can help someone have, it wakes up inside of the person. That's being a sick person for 30 years of my life, I would rely on an outside force to help me with a protocol. And what I've worked this whole time is to create an absolutely self-responsible protocol that we are foster parents for a minute. Everyone starts taking things and they go, oh my God, what's next? Oh my God, I can turn my hormones on? Yeah, you can. You can have juvenile hormones working like a kid. So Chris, you would email your questions to Chrissy. We're going to send you, or you can go on the website and fill out an intake that is so extensive. You're going to be like, what are you doing? Well, if somebody did an enormous amount of marijuana or psychedelics in their 20s, and they're now in their 50s and 60s, drug damage doesn't show up sometimes for 10 or 20 years. But if I know about your head injuries, if I know about your sports, I can literally tell you where that genetic got silenced. So it looks like an intake, you meet with one of my genius women, and then you start on a program that you can afford. You start where you start, because my young 20-somethings that are lost and don't know what they're doing, they may start with being able to afford 4 sprays, and 6 months in, they owned 30 sprays, they found their job, they're ready to work, it's extraordinary to watch this over and over. And miracles are an everyday experience for us. And I want that to be a cultural phenomenon in every community. I want every family to be cheering each other on with the glory of redemption for their potential. Each of us is so important to the Creator because we're so unique. Yeah, we have the same kind of bacteria. We've got the same, but look at us. Look at the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new, angelic force of light, and we're all different. And so is everybody else. But if each one of us lights up 1,000%, well, let's just train our narcissism to want that light from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question that's popping up.
Tell me. Yeah.
Are there any implications here for dementia?
There has not been a single case of anything that I've been handed that we haven't been able to, if someone is, it's hard for me to segregate the genetic with the spiritual. So we don't want to get too, but yes, the answer is you can pretty much ask me about any particular thing, because one of the things that we're dealing with so much is the agriculture, and what's happened in the world has a ton of different heavy metals.
This is one is probably because you made me think of this with when you asked or said something about head injuries, and this specific person that I'm referring to is in all likelihood CTE related.
Concussion, TBIs, CTEs, we are the shizzle. I love those cases. We know. Let me explain. Let's talk about, is it okay if we educate a bit more?
Well, please do.
Yeah, of course.
The organ that is the most sensitive in our entire body, that has a hard shell around it, is the brain. Did you ever take a class on the brain?
I worked in neurotrauma ICU for 7 years.
So we got one.
Class
Let's ask
on the brain.
everyone else. Did you have a class
Yes,
on brain in high
we
school?
got one.
Did anyone, you have to take a test to drive a car. You literally don't have to do anything to cause traumatic brain injury to yourself, which is drugs, which is head injuries, which is caffeine.
Yeah, a bad punch to the face. Yeah.
Most of the Alzheimer's and dementia, caffeine and chocolate are number one of causing it. All the studies are out there. You can find it if you look. Wow. But that's another whole conversation, because I don't want someone going, well, I'm not giving up my coffee. Well, let me tell you something. You start turning on microbiotic intelligence, you can from the inside feel the toxicity of something that's not in harmony with your biology. Everything in your mouth is life-giving or death-giving. That's all there is to it. So the brain is so sensitive that most of us were dropped on our head or had an injury with a little 3-year-old, and none of us remember that. But what occurs is the brain goes offline. So as we work with people and they're on a certain number of the protocol, it creates a neuroplasticity. And there's a moment, and every TBI, every one of them have said to me, it goes, and it's like a chiropractic adjustment, and your equilibrium is changed for the rest of your life, and you can think again. Now, ADD, ADHD is an overactive brain without enough calming neurotransmitters. So you calm down that over electrical thing. And I have all these young boys. I love my young kids. I always want to make sure we have a ton of mature people in biochemical force, but I'm really the advocate of every person under 30. I'm really here to say, I know you're in hell and I want to end it with you. I want to help you, because these young people have genius to transform our society, and they just have brain chemistry that's not where it can be. We always think about how we language this. Most of the culture is coming out and telling us what we're doing wrong or what we're doing right. How about we come from a whole place of like, we didn't even know. I didn't know. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know I was going to build a new form of neurobiology and, not even be able to get the most educated people in the world to listen to it, because oftentimes it negates 30 years of education. How about we find a collaborative way to communicate about it that's non-threatening?
Right.
So, Emily, I feel like there's a question there.
I have a lot of questions, but I don't want to keep interrupting you. But what I was thinking is, do you get a lot of pushback from big
I
pharma, modern medicine, that whole.
Here's the thing. We've
world.
paid dearly. We've paid dearly over and over and over. I've interfaced with every authority. That's why I haven't come out. The reason that this is occurring right now is that I listen to a higher power. I am unafraid in a way. I started getting trained way back in 1986 by people who trained me on everything that runs our culture. That's all we need to say. So what I know is I'm making no claims. I am discussing genetic repair. And I know that you all have a community that wants to make this world a better place. And those are the only people who like us. If you're, I don't need to make another CEO more money. Like I've had to work with enough sociopaths and we can't fix that. And, I've done every single thing I've needed to. And I didn't know that we would have this episode in 2020 that would cause us to know instantaneously who our tribe is, because tribe is the new currency. And that's it. Tribe.
We agree on that.
Yeah.
100%.
So, well, that's why. And I know that it is time for more people to find us, and we don't advertise anywhere, and there's nothing written about us. And if you come to see me privately, you sign NDAs, and it's okay. But we have levels and levels and levels. And what I am devoted to is let's get 1,000 families working. Let's get kids happy with their parents. Let's get them sleeping. Let's get parents not suffering from the outrageous amount of guilt of how much we have to do to try to provide, because the brain is the bank. Everyone that works with me makes more money over time. Like that's just a given.
So in this case, since the work that you're doing and improving, optimizing our microbiome, our nervous system, effectively connects us better with other people, would it be true to say that not everybody needs to do the program for it to have a compounding effect? Like by some people, fixing their microbiome, does that automatically have an effect on all the people that they interact with?
Well, when we understand that we're not solid, and you walk into a room and there are people that you literally are so inspired and you're going to change your life. And then there's people that you want to talk to and you want to slit your wrist and die. Like, just think about your experiences with everyone. What I'm interested in is people who want to be the lighthouses. That's who really digs me, is the lighthouses, because Joe Dispenza, all those guys, they talk about when it wires together, it fires together. It's like, well, yeah, I know my responsibility in every room is to be the light of the sun and help everybody remember that part of themselves. So are we here to be with everybody? Absolutely not. We could, but it's not going to happen. There's too much, I would say, addiction to comfort. That's where you go into the spiritual awakening conversation, is that if anyone told us what we were going to go through in waking up, we wouldn't do it. It's too shit to find out what is really going on and then work with your own multi-layered existence lifetimes and accumulate all that. So do we need to get to everyone? No. Are we now ready for the next 1,000 players that could shift? Do you know we only need 9,000 to shift 8 billion. We don't need
so that's exactly what I'm saying. Everybody in the world doesn't have to use Biometech directly in order for this to have an effect on the whole world, basically.
The whole world.
Or
I'm in the active play of gathering those brothers and sisters that I made this whole thing for, because it's the 100th monkey. It's just that it's about gently, lovingly, and encouragingly say, you know what? It's not okay to go into a depression in the holidays and come out after Valentine's and you think it's normal. It's okay to not know how to sleep. everybody can go unconscious. Everybody can lay down. I feel, I sleep for 9, 10, 12 hours. I've slept 5, 6 hours a night for 28 years. Like, you literally don't need the amount of sleep. You need the quality of sleep.
Quality, yeah.
You need 4-stage. It's not dream sleep. A healthy child would maybe get 20 or 30 minutes of deep sleep a night. We don't know this. It is Dan's and my hypothesis that most humans are not getting 1 minute of 4th-stage sleep, because when you get it, your world changes, your gig changes. So I care about Dom and her and communities like you guys, and the people who can hear. Let's play. Let's make you feel wonderful. There's so much genius. Like our intention before we got on the call is maybe every minute we're together, we're washing away the spiritual amnesia of every person watching us. That's a win, right? That's a win right there. And if we can amplify that so that the person maintains that level of light, yay. The kids get it, the environment gets it, the school teacher in the class gets it. And I went around for a while in the early 2000s to schools, and I would do my very best to enroll the parents to just let's just get everybody off sugar for a week. They wouldn't coordinate. Like, it was impossible. The kids wanted it, but the parents didn't want to interrupt their schedules. Really? Yeah, the parents are always the issue. And I say it lovingly, and hopefully I'm a delightful inspiration. My teachers have been much rougher. I try to be a distillation of, hey, it's fun to feel amazing, rather than you're getting it wrong.
You got to sell it, right?
Well, hopefully this is an educational path.
in an ethical way, like you got to get people to buy in, or else.
Yeah.
Well, Angel is the manifester and very good at painting a vision with her words. Yeah. And can you imagine just that moment when there's that ripple effect we talk about a lot in the International Feng Shui Guild, being the change makers of the people who are waking up, say like the 1,000 people, and then what happens? What radiates from that? Can you imagine? Everyone coming back online? So this is really very beautiful and interesting, and the comments are lighting up, and I think they're going to be lighting up for days.
Okay, so let me just say this on behalf of families, because it's a huge thing for me as kids. Mm-hmm. When you look at your beautiful creature and they start to enter puberty, I want everyone to understand what puberty is it's a bee sting. It's being stuck in a bee sting. And so think about the water molecules. One of the reasons our sprays look like water and taste like water, but they're not homeopathy. You'll learn more as you come to see us, is that we're mostly water. And the water molecule holds 400,000 megs of memory. And all the latest computers, Greg Braden, they'll all tell you, they're all so small, and they're powered by water outside of it. But when they invented computers, there was no money in water molecules, so they made chips. Mm-hmm. So the thing that you understand is that when let's look at a water molecule. So let's call the exercise ball the oxygen and the basketballs the hydrogen. As soon as estrogen or testosterone hits those, the basketballs go woo, 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 and just look at any kid in puberty. Mm-hmm. Let's end that. Let's end the psychosis. They already don't have enough calming neurotransmitters. When I have a 15-year-old take some of my stuff and he sits in the room with me and he goes, Angel, I think my brain calmed down enough that I actually know what's going on in the room.
Oh.
Let me tell you, I will fight till the end of my life to give these kids a chance to be the extraordinary, one and only unique creation from our source creator, because they're incredible. The young people are incredible. These new crystal kids coming in, the rainbow kids, and there's a lot of us who were indigos that are like born early to trailblaze. Mm-hmm. So usually you get a project like all my health, my mom's side is MS and my dad's side is Parkinson's. And then I'm kind of donated to the cult of medicine and experimented on most of my young life. Because why? Because I needed to become the queen of the microbiome. You get your homework. It's just, we want people to be actually understanding that the project they're in doesn't need to determine every single quality of the rest of their life. That's so key. And so you want to help them you want to help make sure the brain keeps developing and you get that prefrontal cortex up until 24 without so many of these interferences.
Wow.
I have families that the sprays are at the door and no one goes in their house without 3 calming sprays in the house because someone else's stress should not be your homework.
Yeah.
So,
oh, I love
it's
that
fun.
so much. I love that intention so much for children, and we're both mothers as well. And just thinking about everything that a child takes home
I know.
Today and the immense weight and everything that they retain from the stress of their day as children is just, if there's something that can help, I think, we're here for it.
People don't understand that the first 12 years of a child's life are programmed by the nervous system of the parents. So we think, and look, I'm not the parent that I was when my daughter was growing up. I will help save every parent, every mistake I've ever made. I come to this table because I'm also a 1-3 direct manifestor. So we're the quantum mistake makers of the universe. I'm only decent, good, excellent, extraordinary at what I do because I'm willing to make a billion mistakes. So I try to make people comfortable with like, oh yeah, you totally screwed up. Yep, you did it. Yay. Now let's not pay for it for the rest of our life,
Right.
And so when children live with caffeinated, stressed out, workaholic, checked out, drug addict, screenified environments, they have a nervous system, most of them, depending on the level of mutation, that can adapt for about 12 years. And then that's the nervous system pattern for the rest of their life. We just don't know these things. We just have, and then if there's a car accident or a rape or a divorce or whatever, that's another impact. And so what's incredible, and this is the journey I take everyone on is like, what if we have a nervous system congruent with our consciousness? Shazam.
Yeah.
So,
there's so much talk about parenting these days, a certain awareness to attachments and how that results in our interrelationships, but that even exists on a microbiome level that you're describing.
And and that doesn't mean that someone's going to suddenly become the best parent ever. It's just, I have found that as they start to work on building a new nervous system, suddenly a teacher shows up. Suddenly a new class. A workout that I didn't even know I needed. Or I'm willing, this is the most important thing, I'm willing to ask for help. That's the juice. I'm not going to make this without you girls. We've got it. We've done thousands of people, but the next level is going to take people willing to allow me to speak about things because it's time.
The beautiful thing about this media is that what we're recording right now is going to live on for years and years and years. And when people are ready to receive the information, it'll be there.
Exactly. What questions do you guys have? Like, was it clear the way I explained this?
Very clear.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could go on for hours.
We can go on for 5 hours.
Very, very relevant and very timely to all of the topics that I'm hearing from people in my circles in terms of, and Julie, hi, Julie. Julie is a mom chiming in here. I think very relevant in particular to change makers and thought leaders that are paving the way. And it's hard for them to find the reflections of themselves in anyone else because they may be charting a new path or a new territory like you are doing. So all of the hardships that you had to endure to learn and to find your people are the reasons why you're able to be here with us today and sharing all of these amazing developments. And I, am deeply honored to meet such an innovative, leader, and also your team is stellar and just like, wow. That's the type of people I know I want to be around. And in terms of conscious collaboration, I encourage everybody within our group, if you're watching us on the replay, you can hashtag replay. if you're finding us in the podcast, you can send us a message or join us in the group so you can chime in on this too, because we want to hear from you. This has been very lively, Angel.
Are there any questions that they're writing in the chat?
There is a lot of, are there practitioners near Columbus, Ohio?
You don't have to be with someone in person. Everything is done virtually. Okay. I work with people all over the globe.
And Michelle wants to know, how did we meet, Angel?
It was from Miriam Davinsky. Yes. Miriam has been one of my homegirls for 10, 15 years. And we were going through something, and I said, I really need like a female feng shui master. She goes, oh, Lisa Albans. Like it just, and that's how it started last year. And we kind of, a lot of things have gone on for us over this last, like everybody, everybody's
everybody. Yes.
But
what I love are the synchronicities and the harmony that we feel in our meeting and our connection. And our group did get to meet Dr. Miriam, and it's recorded in one of our episodes, Dr. Miriam. So if you can hop back and listen to that one as well too. But I think this is going to be maybe a part 2, maybe a part 3, that we go a little bit deeper as people are really digesting this information. We would love to have you return, Angel. And if you're comfortable being involved in a Facebook group, are you open to social media?
Well, they're all forcing me to do this. I've been pretty silent forever. So, I'm more than happy to, I just found my password for, when you see a photo on there, my daughter put me on there probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
So all of these kind of things are going to be evolving. And I do want to make sure that if people are willing to get ready, email Chrissy. And then what we could do, the three of us, is we could decide how we could serve your community in an intimate, powerful way. Because I love everybody coming on and asking questions. Because the thing about our life is that, I really say this, is that my understanding in consciousness is that every cell of our body has been programmed with shame. And in order to awaken, we got to go through that doorway. And when one woman asks a question, I taught sex classes before 2000. And then we started Slut Nation, and I'm like, okay, we can't do sex classes. People are too emotionally screwed up right now. Hopefully we can get back to getting microbiome. I mean, think about Slut Nation. I always say this. You are picking up a microbiome from a not necessarily your top choice person, and now you've got all their homework. I just want people to start making really intelligent choices and understanding the impact and the ripple of everything we do.
Yes.
And so I really want to do a sex talk when you guys are ready.
We do have an episode that we started the conversation. We would love to loop you in on setting energetic boundaries. Yeah. And I think that's really important, especially for all of us inside of this group and listening to this podcast today. And Angel, we're going to close it out here. It is our 100th episode, so you're part of our celebration.
Wow,
thank you.
Number one. Yes. That's so incredible. I feel, and it's my first. And and I'm willing to talk to other people now. We're gonna start playing ball.
Well,
awesome.
We're happy to help make that introduction to the world and connect you with anyone who we can, any of our collaborators. And this has been a sincere joy, as always, speaking with you. Any of our listeners, if you have any questions, you know where to find us. You can follow the links provided in our description. And thank you. Anything else, girls, before we close it out?
No, this was awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Looking forward to more, for sure.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. I'll talk to you both in 5.
Talk to you in 5.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.